Hi, welcome to the first little mini episode on your Thursday. I'm so glad that you're here exclusively on YouTube. I know, so exclusive. You're in a little club now uh, without membership fees, so you're welcome. But welcome again. I don't know how many times I say welcome in each episode. Maybe we should have like a counter. Um, I think that would make me more aware of how many times I do say welcome. But I am really glad that you're here. We are going to be talking about Tessa Bailey's new book, Our Nope, Au Pair? Au Pair? You know I'm not gonna say it right. I'm from a little town in Idaho. Like, what do you expect from me? I don't say words right. Most of my life I said compromise instead of compromise. It wasn't until I was married, maybe 2 years, so that was 9 years ago, that I learned that it is compromise. And even when I read that word, I still say compromise. I get teased about it all the time. I'm not mad at it because there was another one. I don't even remember. Actually, there's been so many that the husband has been like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "I'm just sounding it out as I'm reading it, okay?" That's how I learned how to read, and that's how I still read. I sound out the words. So, au pair, we're going to say it's au pair and just go with it from there. If not, correct me in the comments. Don't be mean though, because I'll probably cry. That's who I am as a person. But yes, we're going to talk about Tessa Bailey's new book. I usually would do this on like a regular episode, regular podcast episode, but I think what I want to do is have like maybe like the first book or like major books be on podcast episodes, and then if I read like in a series, maybe like the starting with like the second book onward, I would put it as like a mini episode, because some people like they want to know all about the series. Like they don't want you to just stop at like the first book. And so that's what I think I'm going to do, is have like the not the main book, but the other books be on this channel. And also little other books that maybe there's so much, or maybe there's so little that I can tell you about a book because it is so good. And maybe that will be like a mini episode, because I feel bad if I can't tell you very much about a book because it's all like so good, and have it be like a made podcast episode. Like I feel like it wouldn't be fair. So that's kind of like the tentative plan right now. I could absolutely change it, because this is like the first mini episode, and so it's open. It's all open, for whatever we want to do, and you can absolutely make requests in the comments. This is what's nice about YouTube, is that the comments are just right there. So you can like browse them for any like book recommendations if people want to put book recommendations, or little comments, or just like anything that you liked about the book, what you wished was in the book. I want to know all of it. Like I want more conversation. So that's another reason why I'm excited to do this. So if you want to put any book recommendations for me to read down in the comments, I would love that. I am always looking for new books. I do, of course, like most people, have an endless TBR, and but if someone were to recommend it, absolutely, it goes at the very top, because I want to talk to people about books. So of course I would do that. So I just finished. Okay, so I did the episode on The Coven that came out a couple days ago, and then I just read the second book. Did I already forget about the second? And I didn't read it, actually. I listened to it. It's still by Harper L. Woods. It is The Curse. That was the second book. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Okay, no. Those are really harsh words. I did not like it. I didn't enjoy the characters. I knew from the first book that I really didn't enjoy the characters, but I kept continuing it because Kat was listening to it as well, and I wanted to listen to it with her. But I didn't enjoy the characters. The main male character, some people were like, "Oh my gosh, he redemption," and I'm like, "Where?" Like, I didn't like him the whole time. He was so manipulative, so manipulative. And then the girl would go back and forth and be like, "Oh, I love him, I love him. Oh, I hate him, I hate him. But because you're touching me, I love you, I love you." I'm I'm like, that's not healthy. It's a very toxic relationship. And this might be spoiler. I'm not going to say that because it's too much spoilers. But I didn't enjoy it. I did like the witch aspect of it, but I, and maybe I just don't understand like the witch culture, but it's very satanic. And I didn't realize that, I guess it was too much devil for me. So yeah, I I just read it. It was fine. So now, if someone wants to talk about it, I can talk about it with you. But it won't go on any of my list to like recommend. It was fine. It was fine. I just didn't like the relationship. Anyways, okay, finish that. And then we are starting on Pucking Around by Emily Rath. I only got 6 chapters in and I was dying. Dying. It is so spicy. It is so spicy. And I'm listening to it too because Kat wants to listen to it. So I'm listening to it and I'm at work. Is it just in my headphone, of course? I am flustered. I am blushing. I am like freaking out because already first chapter so much is happening, and also the guy's voice in it too. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not the appropriate environment that I can listen to this in. So I was like, yeah, I have to stop. Like, I gotta wait until later. She's like, yeah, I'm with family. I couldn't listen to. I'm like, oh, what are we getting into? Like, no wonder. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It was a really big like TikTok sensation, and like people really loved hockey after that. So I'm like, okay, like so spicy. I don't think I'm gonna be ready. I think I'm just gonna be blushing the whole time. It's whatever. I blush all the time about these things. So, um, oh, Tijan. Again, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Tijan. My first ever episode, like ever podcast episode, was her book Canary. And it just makes me so happy. So she just came out with a book. Um, it kind of has like a scary cover. It's like this mask, and it's called Frisco. And I believe it's about like a motorcycle gang guy, like head of motorcycle club. I don't know. So I'm probably going to read that. I don't know if it will be a main episode or mini episode, but either way, it's going to be somewhere. I'm going to do something about it. Okay, now that it's been what, like 10 minutes, let's actually get into this book. So, this book really leaves right off of Fangirl Down. And so, technically, this is the second book to that series, but they're totally different characters. There's still cameos of Wells and Josephine because Tallulah is Josephine's best friend, and Wells, I guess, with his grumpy ways, he would admit that Burgess is his best friend. So they're kind of the best friends of the best friends. So it's perfect because at the end, I guess it's mostly at the end of Fangirl Down, is when I believe they're in California or they're somewhere having dinner, and then Tallulah is there because Wells has flown her out from Antarctica to see Josephine for her birthday, and then Burgess shows up too, and Tallulah saying like, yeah, I'm gonna be going to Boston. And Burgess asks like her a couple questions. She's like, yeah, I just have to find like an apartment. And he's like, oh, you should come live with me. He does have his daughter there with him, Lissa or Lissa. I'm going to say Lissa. And they like clicked really well, Tallulah and Lissa. And so he's like, you should move in with me. Like, you should be her au pair, like free rent. You could go to your classes. Like, this is a win-win. And she's like, immediately, yes. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I would be there too. Like, immediately, yes, for me too. And so that's where it kind of leaves off. It's been a couple months. It would have to be a couple months because I believe that she was finishing up her Antarctica, I don't know, expedition. And then she would be starting in the fall for college. And so it must be like the fall after or something. Because, yeah, Josephine and Wells, I believe they're engaged. And, yeah, going to go from there. So, okay, they meet. He's like, yes, okay. And then it comes to like the day of that she's supposed to move in, and she is across the street from the condo. And she's like, I can't do this. Like, I have to find my own place. Like, I can't just move in with him. He's a stranger. I don't know him. She just saw a video of like him beating this guy up in hockey. She's like, I can't do this. And you understand why in the middle. I would say it's in the middle of the book why she is like that, which it's completely understandable. If you've listened to Crime Junkies, the podcast, you know, like, you got to question everything. And for her to immediately be like, yes, I'll move in with you, it's like, yeah, at first you're like, yeah, I'll do that too. But then you got to think, like, we don't know this guy. We don't know his history. We don't know how he treats people. We don't know anything about him. So it's understandable that she'd be like, I don't think I could do this. It's kind of sucky that it is the day of that she's supposed to be there. But she's like, oh gosh, I can't do this. So he walks into the smoothie shop that where she is sitting, and orders this thing, and she calls him right there, and so he can hear her talking, and turns, and they like sit down, and she basically tells him like, hey, I can't do this, like, I can't move in with you. And she doesn't really give him an explanation except for like, I don't know you. And he's like, what can I do to like help you? What can I do to make you feel more comfortable? Like, I understand. And he just starts to feel really bad because she's like, no, I can't do this. And he can tell that there is something there. But he is he's so kind. Like, he is so thoughtful. I love Burgess. He is just a grumpy goose, like, soft-hearted teddy bear, like, just those types of male characters that you just love. Like, you just really love that. And Tessa Bailey does those characters very, very well. She is one of my favorite characters, my favorite authors, because of how she does her characters. And she does the female characters that they're not like, they're not dumb. They're really quirky, and they're funny, and they have such a personality to them that you just like love them. You just love them because they each have their different quirks and different things that they love that are all different from all her other characters. Like, she really makes each of them unique, and they're just lovable. You just love them and you root for them immediately. And of course, this is like a tension, like, not really slow burn, but it's like friends to lovers, because they're kind of friends, but not really. It's like, there's a lot of tropes that could go into this, but yeah, you just love both of them, and you completely understand. And he feels bad, like, Burgess feels bad. There's like, she moved all the way here. There's not a place for her. She only has a budget of $700, which that's not really going to get you anywhere safe in Boston. And so he's like, let me find a place for you. Let me find a place for you. And so he actually calls his teammate Sig, which this is where it introduces the couple that is going to be in the third book. So Sig, he has a townhouse that he rents out for his future sister, future half sister, future stepsister. That's what it is, future stepsister. And there's already like a blurb that Tessa has about those characters where apparently I think he sees her, or like maybe they have like a one night stand or something, and then their parents meet, and so they go to a family dinner and they realize like, oh my gosh, you're this person. Oh, you're this person. And then it goes from there, and he's a hockey player as well. So I'm like, I'm here for that. I can't wait for that. I don't think it's gonna be here until next year, which I had to wait a long time for this one. So I'll wait for that one. I just have loved all of these characters. Like, fangirl down immediately, yes. 10 out of 10. This one, 10 out of 10. Like, this, the series is the best. And I know that I've like said these things like so many times this episode. Okay, so what else can I tell you about this book? So yeah, he talks to Chloe, which is Sig's almost stepsister. And he's like, hey, she can only pay $7 and act like that's okay, and I'm good for the rest. Like, I'll pay for the rest. And so he tells Tallulah, like, hey, go and look at this apartment. I think you'll really like it. I think you'll really like Chloe. And like, I found a place for you. And she's like, okay. So she goes to look. Of course it's gorgeous. Of course it's beautiful. And she calls Chloe out right out and is like, this isn't real. Like, you're not going to take $700. And she's like, well, I'm supposed to tell you that it's okay. And she's just really funny about it. Like, Chloe is a very funny character already. And so they become like really good friends like immediately, but she's like, no, I can't let Burgess, because she does find out that Burgess said that he would pay for it. She's like, I can't let him do that. I can't let him do that. And so she goes and finds him at his apartment, and he's like, oh, are you here to like chew me out? And she's like, I want to be mad, but I can't be mad because it's very sweet. And then his daughter is there, and they click immediately, and she is able to help like their relationship, like father-daughter relationship, just effortlessly. Like the little things that she teaches him, because he's a single dad. And that's another aspect that, like, some of these single dad books, like, they're usually a widow or like something bad has happened. You know what I'm saying? But like in this, the mother, Lissa's mother, so his ex-wife and him have a great friendship, and she's already engaged to fiance. Of course, at one point, Lissa admits that she does want them to get back together, and is upset when she finds out eventually about Tallulah and Burgess. So there's like that little like story thing, but it's understandable because I think she's like 14 or 15, maybe 13. And so she's like going through those phases, and just like how everything is laid out, like the pacing is perfect, the storyline is perfect, like the third act breakup is perfect, like them really searching for who they are as a person is perfect. They both learn different things from each other, different like characteristic, different skills, different like he learns to just to let go of his fears and just like live in the moment, and she learns to trust again because she went through a very very traumatic situation with an ex. Like he this isn't really spoilers, I guess kind of, but like he like basically locked her in a closet for like 2 to 3 days because he was so jealous. Like there's like more to it, but like experiencing something that traumatic is very like life altering. And so she learns to trust, and she learns to trust in herself too, that she can get herself out of these situations, that she can say no, that she can stand up for herself, that like she just learned a lot. And I love that. I love seeing the growth between them. Burgess does like fall first, which Wells fell first for Josephine. And I think I'm really starting, I mean, I never not liked when a guy fell first, but it's starting to be like one of my favorite things. And Tessa Bailey, of course, does that really well. So of course Burgess, he falls first, and he's like, I already want to marry you. I already want to be with you. Like I see how you are with my daughter. Like I see like how you are as a person. Like I just want to be with you. And I think like they do like dirty things, like, oh, the spice is high. It's very spicy, but it's just, I loved it. I loved it so much. Of course, it made me flustered and all that, but I loved it. It was amazing. It was perfect amount. It wasn't too much. It wasn't centered around the sex. Like the storyline wasn't centered around it. It was just all such perfect timing. And I think even before they like actually have sex, I think she has to like say that she's his girlfriend. Like they do like other dirty things leading up to it, but he's like, I'm not gonna do this until you say that I'm your boyfriend. Like he says that, and she's like, I don't know if I'm ready. And then everything goes on, and she's like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, crazy. um what else can I say about this book? I hope you already believe me that it is so good. If you've ever read a book by Tessa Bailey, like you know how enjoyable her writing is. It's just like fun and lighthearted. And even if there is serious situations, like it's said in a way that's very like respectful of the situations, but also kind of bringing more lighthearted to it. And just her characters make you smile. And it's just all great. And so this was just another solid book by her that I'm excited to recommend to anyone. I don't think my mom and sister would read it, but I know my best friend Kat would. That's I'm gonna add that to the standard. I think I'm still trying to figure out what her boundaries are because everyone has boundaries when they are reading a book, like things that they don't want to read or like make them uncomfortable. We absolutely know that Hunting Adeline is my hard stop. But I'm still trying to figure out my boundaries as well because it does depend on the book and the writing and series and all that. So I'm still trying to figure out hers. I know it's way spicier than what I read. Like, I already know that. um, but yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out. So I think I might add that to the standard is so that we have like my mom and then my sister and then me and then Kat. And so then we can kind of rank it from there. I think that would be perfect. So anyways, just a quick little episode for y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me your thoughts and feelings. If you read this book, tell me in the comments what you thought, like your initial reaction, if you loved it more than Fangirl Down, because I'm kind of torn. Like, because Fangirl Down is more, it has like little serious things with like Wells's background and with Josephine's like health. So, like, there's that, but it's more funny and like lighthearted. Like, do you like that over this book, Au Pair, where it is like a more serious like situation that she went through? And I don't know, which one do you like more? I feel like it gives you both sides. And if I had to lean towards one, I think I would go for Fangirl Down because I've already read it like 3 times since it's come out. Like, I just love it. And I think maybe I would read Au Pair, not for like probably 6 months maybe. So that's already tells me like my levels of enjoyment of it, like if I were to rank it, you know. So anyways, tell me your thoughts, tell me comments, tell me recommendations, tell me everything down in the comments below. And I'm so glad that you guys are here. Definitely subscribe, give me the like button, what other things with YouTube. And go check out the regular podcast episodes on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. They're actually on the YouTube channel as well. I'm starting videos back up on there. So they're here as well. But just give me a follow and review, and it all helps me out. So I will talk to you guys next week.